everyone, and welcome to our new revision session. From today, we are starting our WB set countdown series. So it's our first countdown series for WB set. The exam will be on 15th December, and I hope all of you are already preparing well. And here with me is Ananya.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, so let's get started with our session tonight. Okay. So I welcome you all again to Vallath WB set countdown session 5. Right, let's move on to our first question for tonight. Yeah.
Which play among the following is not by Harold Pinter? Is it The Caretaker, Betrayal, The Homecoming, or Happy Days?
So here you can see 3 plays by Harold Pinter, and one of them is not by Pinter. It's actually by Samuel Beckett. So it is Happy Days. Happy Days is a play in 2 acts by Samuel Beckett, first performed in 1961. Viewed positively by critics, it was named in The Independent as one of the 40 best plays of all time. In this play, we see that Winnie, a woman, is buried to her west. And in that condition, she follows her daily routine and prattles to her husband, Willie, who is largely hidden and taciturn. Her frequent refrain is, "Oh, this is a happy day." Later in Act 2, she is buried up to her neck but continues to talk and remember happier days. So, this situation of a semi burial and then full burial can signify many things in our contemporary life as well, like how we stay buried by our social situations, political circumstances, our gender at times, our race, right? So this situation of a burial is very important in this play. And again, it's a gendered body. Winnie is a woman, right? And there's burial of a gendered body, and still she's talking and doing her daily work. That's also very important, right? It's as if like she's attempting to save her voice, to keep her voice alive amidst all these difficulties, right? Okay. Next.
Mo Shanta is a narrative poem written by Dash in 1790 while living in Dumfries. Is it written by Blake, Robert Burns, William Cooper, or Robert Gray?
So this one is a very actually important narrative poem, right? Tam O'Shanter, or even Tom O'Shanter is sometimes called. So Tom O'Shanter is narrative poem by the Scottish poet Robert Burns in 1790 while living in Dumfries. First published in 1791, this poem has roughly 228 lines and is one of Robert Burns' longer poems, and it employs a mixture of Scots and English. This poem describes the habits of Tam, a farmer who often gets drunk with his friends in a public house in the Scottish town of Ayr, and his thoughtless ways, specifically towards his wife, who waits at home for him. At the conclusion of one such late night revel, after a market day, Tam rides home on his horse Meg while a storm is brewing, and then he comes across an abandoned church while some witches also chase him, and then he along with his horse gets drowned, right? So it's a very interesting narrative poem by Robert Burns, Tam O'Shanter. Right. Next.
It was said that Uncle Tom's Cabin was the book which started the Great War. Which is the Great War referred to? Is it the American War of Independence, the Spanish-American War, the American Civil War, or the Mexican-American War?
So very famously, it is the American Civil War. Okay, the American Civil War was a civil war in the United States between the North and South of America, right? Which was formed in 1861 by states that had seceded from the Union. And the central conflict leading to war was a dispute over whether slavery should be permitted to expand into the Western territories, leading to more slave states, or be prohibited from doing so, which many believed would place slavery on a course of ultimate extinction. So, we all know that the point of contention was the institution of slavery, right? And the North and South did not agree on this matter, and hence the war started. And Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin is a phenomenal work, is a groundbreaking work, which actually showed the horrors of slavery, right? And ultimately, there's war. Okay, next.
Which of the following is not a detective character? Is it Father Brown, Reginald Wexford, Anne Catherick, or Mike Hooligan?
So Father Brown, Reginald Wexford, and Mike Hooligan, all of them are indeed detective characters, but Anne Catherick is not a detective character. She is a poor, unfortunate, and mentally fragile young woman who is locked in an asylum by Sir Percival Glide because he thinks that she knows the secret of his false identity as the Baronet of Blackwater, a title which is not his own. Right? And so this character can be found in the novel The Woman in White. She's not a detective, but she's a hapless woman, a victim of circumstances. Right. So do look up more detective characters, more woman characters from such novels. Next.
Which was the first book of essays to be published? Was it Bacon's essays, Foucault's maxims, Montaigne's essays, or Pico della Mirandalos on the dignity of man?
Very famously, it was Montaigne who first started this genre. So Montaigne's essays is the first work in this genre. Okay, the essays of Michael de Montaigne are contained in 3 books and 107 chapters of varying length. They were originally written in Middle French and published in the Kingdom of France. Montaigne's stated design in writing, publishing, and revising the essays over the period from approximately 1570 to 1592 was to record some traits of my character and of my humors. The essays were first published in 1580 and cover a wide range of topics. Again, a fascinating a fascinating characteristic or aspect of this genre is its nature of documentation. Generally, the genre of essay is regarded as non-fiction, right? And hence this nature of documenting original thoughts of a character or of a person mostly, right? Okay, next. So before we proceed, let me tell you all that we are starting a research program from this Wednesday onwards. That is from 27th of this month. But the first session will be a free session for all of you. So if you want to join that free session, you can also contact us. But the next sessions will only be available for you all if you enroll for this course. It's a hands-on course for researchers in English, right? It's a course for 1 month. The timings will be 6 to 8 p.m. And if you enroll for this course now, it's available at just rupees 12,000, right? So if you are a PhD aspirant, if you want to kickstart your research, I think it's a golden opportunity for you all to get a really nice experience of research, with real scholars and professionals and professors who will be handling this course. Right. Next.
Antonio Francesco Gramsci was associated with the dash. Was it Marxism, structuralism, postmodernism, or modernism?
We all are very much aware about this figure. So yes, Antonio Gramsci He was an Italian Marxist philosopher, linguist, journalist, writer, and politician. He wrote on philosophy, political theory, sociology, history, and linguistics. He was a founding member and one time leader of the Italian Communist Party. A vocal critique of Mussolini and fascism, he was imprisoned in 1926 and he remained there in the prison until his death in 1937. So he was associated with Marxism. He was also a leader of the Italian Communist Party, but he raised his voice against fascism and hence his sad end. Okay, next.
The Giaour is a poem by Lord Byron, first published in 1813 by John Murray and printed by Thomas Davison. It was the first in the series of Byron's Oriental romances. Now, is this statement true or false?
So this statement is absolutely true. It was indeed The Giaour is a poem by Byron and it was first published by John Murray and it was printed by Thomas Davison and very importantly it's an Oriental romance by Byron and this work proved to be a great success when published, consolidating Byron's reputation critically and commercially. Okay, and as I said, it's a Oriental romance. This Gior, it talks about uh, an a Turkish man, and this term is an offensive Turkish word which means infidel or non-believer, and is similar but unrelated to the Arabic word kafir, means someone who has no faith and a non-believer. So it's a very important Oriental romance by Byron. Next.
Which among the following is not a Condition of England novel? Was it Sybil, Mary Barton, Shirley, or The Old Curiosity Shop?
So, as you all know, during the Victorian era, Condition of England novels were very popular. These novels were very popular for their protest against the harsh working conditions in the industries. And also, it talks about how industrial revolution led to rapid unemployment and starvation and extreme poverty, right? So Sybil or the Two Nations by Benjamin Disraeli, Mary Barton, A Tale of Manchester Life by Elizabeth Gaskell, Shirley by Charlotte Bronte, all of these are Condition of England novels. They talk about the contemporary industrial conditions and the exploitation and oppression of the working classes. But The Old Curiosity Shop by Dickens is not a Condition of England novel, but it is one of the two novels by Charles Dickens published along with short stories in his weekly serial Master Humphrey's Clock, right? The Old Curiosity Shop. It's a very important work by Charles Dickens. It was printed in book form in 1841. Queen Victoria herself read the novel that year and found it very interesting and cleverly written. And the plot here follows the journey of Nell Trent and her grandfather, both residents of the Old Curiosity Shop in London, whose lives are thrown into disarray and destitution due to the machinations of an evil moneylender and the grandfather's addiction to gambling. Here, the dwarf Quilp is the villain, right? And the death scene of little Nell, which has been portrayed here, in a very excruciating sense, it became very famous throughout England. So, The Old Curiosity Shop is a very important work by Dickens. Next.
Brutus of Alba or The Enchanted Lovers is the 1678 tragedy by Dash. Is it by Dryden, Nahum Tate, William Congreve, or Colley Cibber?
Right. So, we mostly talk about Nahum Tate because he gave a happy ending to King Lear. Again, he also wrote a portion of Dryden's Absalom and Achitophel because it was left unfinished by Dryden. So he completed Absalom and Achitophel. But we also need to know that he was also a major playwright. Okay, so Brutus of Alba or The Enchanted Lovers is a 1678 tragedy by the Irish writer Nahum Tate. It was first performed by the Duke's Company at the Dorset Garden Theatre in London. And the names of the original cast are unknown. The published version was dedicated to the Duke of Dorset. This play was based on the fourth book of Virgil's Aeneid and was produced in the context of the exclusion crisis. Remember, exclusion crisis of King Charles II because he had no legitimate heirs. And Nahum Tate was at the time a supporter of James, the Duke of York, and the play is strongly propagandistic about the Stuart monarchy. Nahum Tate later took elements of the play for the libretto of Dido and Aeneas, scored by Henry Purcell. So Nahum Tate is a very important writer, so do look up his works in great details. Okay, next.
Joseph is a servant in Dash. Is he a character in Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights, Pickwick Papers, or Vanity Fair?
So, a very popular character. So, Joseph is a servant in Emily Bronte's only novel, Wuthering Heights. Okay, so he is actually a long-serving servant at Wuthering Heights, where the Earnshaws used to live. He is a fanatical, judgmental, and unlikable character who is strongly religious and uses the Bible to condemn others. He is also stubborn, unkind, and long winded. He speaks with a thick Yorkshire accent, which is a distinctive feature of the regional dialect used in the novel to indicate social class. He is a constant presence in the story and is representative of the dark and inhospitable atmosphere of Wuthering Heights. He is a product and he himself is a product of, and also he contributes to the dysfunction at the estate. So he is a very important and crucial character. Zila is also a servant character in Wuthering Heights. Make a list of servant characters from all the Victorian novels. They're very important. Okay, next. Yes.
Marry a Fiction is the only complete novel by 18th century British feminist Mary Wollstonecraft. Is this statement true or false?
So, for your statement based questions, please read up things in good details, because for your statement based questions, you need to be 100% sure about all the statements they will give you. So, indeed, Marry a Fiction is the only complete novel by the 18th century British feminist Mary Wollstonecraft. And this novel tells the tragic story of a woman's successive romantic friendships with a woman and a man, composed while Wollstonecraft was a governess in Ireland. The novel was published in 1788, shortly after her summary dismissal and her decision to embark on a writing career, a precarious and disreputable profession for women in 18th century Britain. So Mary Wollstonecraft, Mary Shelley, Shelley, William Godwin, all of them are very important writers. Do look them up in good details. Right, next.
Exiles is a play by Dash. Is it by Samuel Beckett, Harold Pinter, James Joyce, or W.B. Yeats?
So Exiles is James Joyce's only extant play and draws on the story of the dead. That is the final short story in Joyce's short story collection, Dubliners. The play was rejected by W.B. Yeats for production by the Abbey Theatre, but its first major London performance was in 1970 when Harold Pinter directed it at the Mermaid Theatre. So, it's a very important work by James Joyce. So Joyce himself described the structure of the play as three cat and mouse acts. That's an important information. So, before we leave you, it's a reminder that from this Wednesday, we're starting our research program. If you wish to join us, that will really help you all for research and your PhD admission, I hope. So do consider joining this program. Right. So that's all from our side for tonight. I really hope this session has helped you all. So we will be back again tomorrow at 9. Till then, bye. Take care. Good night. Shall we wrap
Good
up,
night.
Ananya? Yeah.
Yes,